We got more awesome companies we talked to at the Outdoor Retailer Show.
Coming up right now. What's going on, everybody? This is Derek, and with me today is the only man who navigates using the freckles on his body. He feels like those are more accurate than the stars in the sky or any GPS Garmin map. Carl Mandrioli, the Mandriolian, as we call him on the trail.
That's
What's
right.
going on, buddy?
That's right. Welcome to the Backpacking Blisters podcast, everybody. With me today is Derek Somerville. He's a man that believes mosquitoes are the best card players around because they have good poker faces.
That is awful. It's awful.
Legit.
It's like,
legit.
How do they get worse? Like, I just think they're going to get better, and they just get worse. It's okay.
I like
the
it.
Mandalorian. What do you think about your new trail, the Mandalorian? You like that?
Super smooth. Yeah, super easy to say and everything.
The Mandalorian.
So keep it coming.
No?
So we've got round 2 of our Outdoor Retailer Show breakdown. We've got new interviews. We've got companies you've heard of with new products, new companies you've never heard of but should consider when buying gear. And of course, we've got another person calling me out for some content that they thought was offensive from last week's episode. Actually, I think they said heavily offensive. So right. we'll get to that later on in the show. Yeah. It's a bummer. Yeah. Or you're kind of excited about it because it's me, right?
Oh, I'm excited. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's hear it. I can't wait.
We got a lot to get to, and we got Proverbs 16:24 is our Bible verse of the episode. Pleasant words are a honeycomb, sweet to the soul and healing to the bones.
Oh, that's good.
Are you a big fan of honey?
I am, Carl. Actually, I was at a state fair this year. I bought some fresh honey from the beehive itself. Okay. They bottled it up right there at the fair.
They said, let's scooch the bees out of the way. We're about to bottle some honey.
Let's scoop it, bottle it, buy it. I bought it.
They use their hands.
I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty, but look, I came home. I made a waffle. I call them waffies. Mock me if you will, but instead of syrup, I prefer honey. I prefer honey on the waffle, the waffy, if you will. So I had a nice couple of protein waffies, threw a little honey on that bad boy. Yeah. It was delish.
Nobody ever accused Derek of being too masculine, friends. So this is an example, the waffy. Okay.
I'm sorry. I have to call it a waffle.
Yeah.
Well, I can do either one. It doesn't matter.
That's right. So so I mentioned the mosquito thing in the intro with you. We got the honey. We got companies that deal with both of those things, different companies, of course. And just like in our last episode, we have Tupperware Mike was a B&B correspondent along with his wife, Jen Crafton. And so they're part of the show. So you're going to hear them chiming in, but we're going to bounce around with different interviews, asking different questions. You're going to hear new products, new snacks, new food, new lots of things, maybe learn something along the way. Hopefully we're going to find out. So you ready to jump in on this?
Let's go. Let's go.
So first up, I've got one of my favorite snack companies, which is Honey Stinger. All right, I've got Mike and Amy from one of my favorite companies, Honey Stinger. How's it going today?
Good.
Really good.
Thanks for joining the show. And so we swung by your booth, and you've got quite a few new products coming out or already out. So what do you got going on there?
So definitely launched a new energy chew, caffeinated chew. A couple of flavors that have been favorites in the last few years that were asked to be brought back. So cherry cola was a bring back, and both cherry cola and Stingerina lime both have 50 milligrams of caffeine in them and taste great. So good addition to the line and extension of our chew line.
Right, and cherry cola was one that I've been a fan of over the years for sure. And I think I even reached out to customer service and was like, hey, what's going on? Did I save cherry cola? Was that me?
It's funny. You can definitely take the credit for it, but to be honest, I've been with Honey Stinger for about a year and a half, and it was one of my favorite flavors of chews. I've been a big fan long before I started working at the company. I think it was my second meeting, and I found out that cherry cola was being discontinued, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is going on? So I started to stockpile them, but I'm like, this is my mission now for the next year to try and bring back cherry cola. So I may have had a little bit more to do with it, but hey, I think everybody, actually it's a very popular flavor, so there was a huge, groundswell of people that were wanting to see it come back, so we're excited to have it.
So you're saying no, not you, but me, is basically the short answer on that one. But yeah, it's funny you stockpile because I think I did that too. I had like a whole pile of them, and then I like saved them. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have just one bag per trip or whatever. So
Yeah, ration them out.
Ration, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So Carl's pretty known for his aggressiveness, so I'm assuming that his 450,000 emails about the cherry cola might have had something to do with it. Is that close?
It's not close. It's not close. All right, so and you got some bars coming out too, or they're already out? I forget.
Oh, we do. So we also recently launched, it's more of a breakfast bar, or focused on breakfast. So pre-workouts, our oat and honey bar, there's 2 different flavors. Original, which is, oat and honey, and then we also have chocolate chip. It's essentially like a peanut butter core rolled with a honey-based caramel, and then it's rolled in oats and quinoa crisps. And the chocolate chip is, the oats are sort of like soaked in a chocolate, and then they have little mini chocolate chips within the bar as well. So very, very tasty. They've been out for a couple months and they're selling very well. So really excited about those items.
I think Honey Stinger is pretty well known, but for those that are maybe new to the brand or haven't had Honey Stinger products before, like the waffles are one of your popular items. What are people using those for? What's the main? Are we talking like ultra marathon runners who are looking for quick carb hits, or what's the main purpose behind them?
So definitely we've started out, all of our products really were anchored in sport, in cycling, running, backpacking, definitely the core of our consumer. But we're seeing the brand, which is great. It tastes really good. So you find that youth consumer starts to bleed in too. So we are seeing it start to expand even beyond that. So we have our core consumer. Now we're starting to get that. We want to be in every soccer kid's bag. We want to be in any baseball kid or basketball. So truly that sport kid. Parents have grown to love us and put us in their bags, and now we want to get to that next layer of kids. It's a healthy choice if you're going to do a snack. It's obviously honey-based energy food, so that part's a good story. But yeah, in the end, we are very much had started in running and bike specialty and have just expanded through that.
Awesome.
So I definitely know that's where I use your product the most is when I hit that wall when I'm running at probably 3 or 4 or 5 mile. And I'm just dead, so I like to have a handful of those in there. But probably one of the questions that we want to know the most is your opinion on if Snickers bar is a candy bar or an energy bar.
Well, I'm a very...
Wait. Is Snickers a direct competitor to Honey Stinger?
No, I would have said in the early 90s it absolutely would have been, had we been around, right? I mean, what's interesting is when I, started using energy bars and those types of things, there was really only one out there. And I distinctly remember, I think it was like a 91, 92 in mountain bike action for anybody who's a really, old mountain biker. This brand, which I'm not going to mention, they used to compare themselves to Snickers because it literally was the only quote unquote portable sort of energy bar out there. And so when this brand came on the scene, it was like, and that's how low the bar was back in the early 90s, was you're comping yourself against Snickers bar. So we would say that Snickers is not, but I'm sure, Snickers would definitely argue, a different point.
So Snickers being an energy bar means the bar is low, is what you're saying?
Back in the 90s, back in the early 90s.
I have to say I am a huge Snickers fan. So I will tell you this point I would make is, does it taste as good as a Snickers? Yes. Our product tastes as good as a Snickers. Whoa. So that part I would be, yes, we're comparable in taste. We have obviously a pretty high level of ingredients, right? Organic, certifications, no GMOs. We really have a really clean product. So it's almost like your clean version of a Snickers. Tastes good, gives you energy. Definitely an improved option from the 90s till now in what you get in that. So yeah, I am a Snickers fan, so it must taste good. Yeah. If I'm eating it, it's got to be comparable in taste to that.
I would like to apologize for Mike's question there because we feel like we put you on the defense now where you're comparing Honey Stinger to Snickers, and they're obviously not the same thing.
No.
So, yeah.
So
sorry about
Snickers obviously is a pretty amazing brand. So if we're up there close to Snickers in brand visibility, I'll take it.
That's nice of you. All
right. We're their sport version, right?
Okay. I'll scold Mike later.
Yes. No, I'm good.
All right. Well, hey, thank you so much, Honey Stinger, for coming on the show. We like your products and keep pumping out the good stuff. So,
awesome. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, man. So that's Honey Stinger. Do Do you use Honey Stinger products?
No, I don't. I have tried them.
Okay.
Truth be told, I bought 2 Honey Stingers, 3 Honey
Okay.
Stingers
Honey
actually.
Stinger what? They make a lot of stuff.
They're the ones that look like waffles. You know, they have
Waffles,
flavor.
yeah. I like those.
Yeah, the little waffle. Yeah. Okay. You like those?
Yeah. Because they're
That
they're
explains a
light
lot.
enough where they're not going to sit heavy in your stomach, but they're substantial enough where they feel like they're filling you up.
But they tasted disgusting.
Okay.
I bought 3. I had 1. I was like, whoa, threw them out.
Okay.
If I'm being honest.
No, save them. Save them. I'll eat those. You are in the minority, my friend. You're in the minority.
Now I know.
Okay. People like their stuff. They're in the grocery store now, for goodness sakes. They're all over the place. So yeah.
I've seen
okay. So what did you think about me like joking around like I helped bring back cherry cola, and the boss Mike was like, no, you didn't.
That was great.
Okay.
I mean, I just like it when people don't see humor, and he was kind of like tunnel vision, you know, like
he was nice,
I need you to,
but he wasn't getting the joke.
But it was still fine. He wasn't getting the joke. Maybe
Let me tell you the backstory. Let me tell you the backstory of Mike and Amy here, because when we went up to their booth, we actually talked to Amy, and I was like, oh my goodness, Amy's like a lot of fun. She's a cool personality. Amy, would you come on the podcast? She's like, of course. I'm like, all right, we're gonna record later. We're coming back and grab you. So I swung back like later in the day. I was like, all right, we got it set up. Come on down. And then we had talked to Mike a little bit, and he's like, what's going on? We're interviewing for a podcast. He's like, all right, I'm gonna come too. I was like, oh. Like, are you the boss that's like escorting her? And I was like, we just have 3 microphones. So actually, I think we had 2 at that point because 1 stopped working. So we're just going to have, like the host voice and then the guest voice. He's like, all right. I might have something to say too. So I might pop on. I was like, okay. Like, you can kind of lean in if you want to. I'm not sure how this is going to work. And so it's kind of funny to like, so he ended up taking up half the show or half the interview as a result.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
Anyway, so that was kind of funny behind the scenes, and I was like, Amy can hold her own, and she was like the senior, I don't know, salesperson. I don't know what the story was. And then afterwards, he was like, hey, you sent me this interview before you publish this. I was like, okay,
send me it.
Just here for this. You listened to the whole thing. There's nothing wonky that went down. So I don't know.
Was he worried about something he said or something?
I don't know. Maybe I was gonna like cut it up and edit it so that it like sounded all weird. We don't. Okay. Who knows what people do? Either way, so one of the big reveals this year is they're introducing a new energy bar, like an oat bar. They mentioned that in the interview. Have you tried? Okay. I know you're not like a big energy bar guy. We had some on a recent trip. Did you try any by any chance?
I had some energy bars. Yeah. No, I had
a Honey Stinger one specifically. I don't care. We're not talking about other companies.
I didn't have Honey Stinger though.
Okay.
I told you I threw them out. What are you talking about?
Those are the waffles. They make other stuff. They make multiple things.
Well, then give me something better. Prove me wrong. Just give me.
I love their energy chews, cherry cola, like we talked about. All right. So I had one of their energy bars, and I was out on a long run, and I had it towards the end of the long run, and it was like an oat bar. I don't know. Have you ever had like a mouthful of like flour where it just like dries out your mouth? So they said that they were popular. I believe you. They're popular. Tupperware Mike likes them. I could not get in enough water towards the end of that long run to moisten my mouth out and make it feel comfortable again. It just like sucked all the moisture out of my body. And so
it's funny. I don't feel like an urge to run to the store and buy any after that. That's funny.
I'm telling you my experience. They said they're popular, but I love their stuff, but not their new bars. That's my takeaway. So check out Honey Stinger, maybe avoid the bars. But
Crocs. Hey, right. Crocs are popular. Crocs are popular. Am I gonna get Crocs? No, I'm not gonna get Crocs.
That's true. All right, next up is a company called CEP Compression. I actually interviewed them at the show, but then they were the first company we actually interviewed, and we had some wonky issues with the microphone. And so I actually followed up after the show. So this is like a follow-up interview. This is with Jared from CEP Compression. Here we go. Okay, I'm here with Jared Finney from CEP Compression. How's it going today, sir?
Things are going good, Carl. Glad we could find some time to make this work. And excited to talk about socks.
Well, and just compression in general, right? Because you sell more than just socks, right?
Yeah, well, all of our socks are going to have some compression element to them, and then we have a whole line of apparel, and then also ortho. And last time we talked, we didn't really touch on ortho, but I think there's a couple products that might be worth just kind of pointing out that for someone hiking, backpacking could really help them out.
Okay, and I've been using the socks, and I've been using the compression shorts as well. So just kind of as a reference. So, okay. So like what so what is CEP compression as a company, and then why should people use it? What are the advantages?
Sure. So CEP is unique because we're owned by the world's largest medical compression company.
Okay.
So we have a huge medical parent company that is German. And so because of that, they, put a lot of emphasis not only into the engineering and material side of it, but also into the manufacturing side. So Medi owns all of their own manufacturing facilities for the socks. So everything is engineered, designed, manufactured, tested in-house.
Okay.
And so the word compression in the sports world is one that's thrown around a lot as a marketing buzzword, right? On the medical side, it's a specific product with a specific use that's held to a very high standard. And we see in the sports world that compression doesn't mean the same thing, based on who's saying it. So we at CEP are proud that the fact that everything we make is medical compression. It's all fully graduated, and it is going to help with increasing circulation, decreasing swelling, and then helping with proprioception, which is especially important for a backpacker.
Okay. So what you're saying is we have to be careful about listening to some claims from other companies in the sports world who may not be held to as high of a standard. So like, as you're saying that, one of the companies, and I don't know if you want to, mention that, but like, I'm thinking of Under Armour, who like their whole company started as like a compression wear type company, at least from the consumer standpoint and you're saying like companies such as them would maybe have different standards. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, I mean, so, Under Armour is a really good example. I mean, I have a lot of respect for that company. They make, great product. But when it comes to the word compression, you need a certain amount of, we'll call it squeeze, right, in the ankle in order to actually affect the deep venous system. Okay. So we say, and it's not just us, there are hundreds of medical studies that show that anything less than 20 to 30 mmHg, and so that's millimeters of mercury, essentially you get your blood pressure taken. That's what the cuff reads, right? It's a unit of pressure. So you need a certain amount of squeeze in order to actually affect the deep venous system, which gives you the benefits of increased circulation, decreased swelling. Okay. Most of the competitors in this space, not to name anybody in particular, either don't have enough compression to kind of meet those qualities, or they're not graduated in the right way. So they're tighter at the top than they are at the bottom. So a lot of times we'll meet people, at expos, at shows, and they say like, I tried compression, I don't like it.
Right.
The first question is, well, whose compression did you try? Because it makes a huge difference. Some people have issues where they're really tight, hard to get on, or people have issues where they think that their feet get tingly, or they get big red marks at the top of the band. And those are all kind of indications that maybe the compression you were using wasn't graduated in the appropriate way. So very rarely have we ever had anybody say anything but, positive when they put a CEP sock on it. It makes their feet feel lighter, makes their legs feel stronger. Those are all the things that we like to hear when someone puts a compression sock on.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. And so that's interesting. You mentioned that maybe it's not compressing in the right way, or it's not tight enough. Is there a situation where it could be like too tight?
Of course. Yeah. So, coming from the medical world, so we're, like I said, that kind of magic number 20 to 30 millimeters of mercury at the ankle. And that's going to help promote healthy blood flow, decrease swelling, all of that. As you get above that, so, level 2, level 3, that's when we're talking about someone with a true medical condition that needs compression, mostly to help remove fluid from the lower limb.
Okay. Yeah. The reason why I was asking is I actually have a pair of like 2XU compression socks, like the over the calf socks. And I don't know if my calf muscles are just like so amazing, but I just or my grip strength is so weak, but I just have a really hard time just getting them on because they're so dang tight. And I tried yours out and that was not a problem. Like it was pretty smooth getting them on. Like obviously you can still feel the compression. And you actually at the retailer show, you actually measured my calf to make sure that I had the right sizing. So it seems very, very specific.
Yep. And so, just for anybody listening, if you're looking at a compression sock, the first thing you should look at is how it's sized. And if it's based on foot size, then it would fall into that, pseudo compression, because if we're not measuring the limb that we're trying to compress, we have no idea what size we should have. That would be like, buying pants based on foot size. There's not a direct correlation there.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So I got to ask about the socks specifically, because I've been using them to train this summer. And I already mentioned I use the 2XU socks. I've used a lot of compression socks, specifically the over the calf socks for years. If I use just the ankle socks and I'm going out for long miles, backpacking, trail running, whatever, I haven't had any issues with the socks themselves. But for whatever reason, when I use the over the calf socks, I don't know why it's different, but I typically, if I'm wearing them on like long miles for backpacking or for trail running, there's like significant wear that appears on the back of the heel, kind of rubbing up against the back of the shoe. So I guess my question is like, why is that happening? And or am I doing something wrong, or why would that specific type of sock cause that?
That's a good question. Is this CEP? Have you had the same
All of
issue?
them. Yeah. It's not specific to CEP. It's every, yeah. So I actually stopped. I'll wear them after the run now, but I don't want to like wear a hole through them. I just started seeing significant wear. And it's not just CEP. It's literally every single company that I've tried. And it's specific to over the calf, not any other style of sock.
The only thing I could possibly think of is that the compression is maybe changing your foot shape over the course of it. Maybe it's keeping it, unswollen, we'll say.
Okay.
And so maybe you're getting a little more heel slip versus when you wear a regular sock or a shorter sock. Maybe your foot's swelling, so just slightly,
right,
but it's filling the boot in differently. Okay. That's the only thing I could think of because that's just it's a rubbing issue, right, in the back of the heel. So
yeah,
for some reason you're getting a little more slip, possibly.
Is the material that you use for the longer socks the same as for the ankle socks?
Correct. All the same. Yeah.
All the same. Yeah, that's weird then. Okay. I'll have to look more into that one. All right. So besides socks, we're talking about socks. We're talking about foot swelling prevention, really. And really, and kind of touching upon that a little more actually is, so if you're keeping the foot at its like normal size, then theoretically you're going to have less friction even up front, like in the toe box area. And so it could theoretically prevent blisters as well. Have you heard of that being something? Okay.
For sure. And we always kind of push that, by maintaining foot shape, you can maintain the boot fit that, you originally got, whenever you got the boot, right? So getting a boot fit with a compression sock and then going hiking in it is going to give you the best chance of consistent boot fit, no blisters showing up, stuff like that. Right. And we have 3 different kind of thicknesses, right? And so I think it's also important that when you're, sizing the boot, fitting the boot, that you're picking the thickness of sock that you want to wear during the actual hike. Because if you get it, fit in a really thin sock and then you throw kind of a max cushion or heavier sock on, that's going to completely change the boot, as well as going in the opposite direction. Okay. So, we have the 3 different heights. We have a light, we have a midweight, and then we have a heavyweight. And so, we kind of push different people based on, the boot that they're wearing or the nature of the hike, the backpacking trip, into different socks.
Gotcha. Okay. And then besides the socks, would you recommend anything specific to hiking and backpacking in terms of just like, the compression shorts or even the full like compression, I guess, leggings or running tights or whatever you have? Anything else that you think you could see being beneficial to a backpacker?
Yeah, so I mentioned it earlier about proprioception, right? You're familiar with that, so that's like the body's ability to kind of move, sense movement, action, location of your foot and joints. And so when you wear, even the shorter, that mid-length compression sock, you're really helping to stabilize the ankle and give it more ability to kind of sense what's under the trail. The other one is the knees, right? That's the other joint that we really want to make sure that we're protecting. Okay. And so we have what we call it's in our ortho line. So it's the light support knee sleeve, and it's knit almost the same way that you would knit a sock. So it's circular knit. It's super thin, really breathable, but it covers the knee in a way that, again, just helps to support it without being bulky, and gives you a lot more sense of stability, especially when you got a big pack on and you're on a rocky trail.
Right. Okay. All right. Good deal. All right. This is something we should definitely consider, especially if it's going to help our, conditioning out on the trails, if it's going to help our ability to move freely and to function better and to essentially not swell up while out on the trail. So Thank you for sharing the information. Is there anything else you'd like to share about your company, where we can find you, website, social media, whatever you got? This is your chance to kind of promo CEP compression.
Yeah, so cepcompression.com is going to be our main website. Between now and August 15th, we're actually going to offer up to 30% discount on all the hiking socks. So if you ever thought about trying compression, thought about trying a sock that has, a little more to it than just wool, now would be kind of your best time to pick some up right as the hiking season started to get rolling for a lot of people.
Okay, so that's 30% off with code HIKE30, correct?
Yep, HIKE30.
Okay, and we'll have that information in our show description on both YouTube and on the podcast app. Excellent, Jared, man. I really appreciate your time, and thanks for letting me try out the CEP stuff. I've been loving it, like I shared with you before we started talking, and just appreciate all you guys do for helping us perform better outdoors.
Do it.
All right, so they're kind of like the high-end compression. Are you... have you used compression on the trail? Are you thinking about it? Are you, would you be willing to? Where are you with the compression stuff?
I mean, you and I both use the compression sleeves on the trail. Mm-hmm. I do.
Wait, are yours compressive or are they just like sun blockers?
No, they're compression.
Okay.
Yeah. I have different ones. Those are probably the thinnest ones I have. I used to have some
blood flow in your arms when you're hiking.
I like the way they feel. I actually used to use better ones when I played basketball. Believe it or not, I know I can play not that well, but I can play. Anyway, I like those there. I had also wanted to try. I don't know what they sell exactly, but those big leg sleeves. A lot of the professional athletes will use in recovery sessions. So I was going to try something like that. I'm not opposed to compression. I think it's could be beneficial. I don't really know enough, but I'd be willing. I'm trying more of it as we
so you're open to it. Yeah, I think he's willing to let us try it out. He also mentioned, this is after we're done recording, but he mentioned that it also can reduce lactic acid in parts of your body, so it actually can help for recovery. And there's a lot, we mentioned the Under Armour, we mentioned the 2XU. There's a lot of companies out there, but this is like the high grade stuff. So so that's why I think he mentioned the HIKE30 for the 30% off for the next week or so. If you're interested, I use the compression shorts, I use the compression socks, and I find them to be helpful. I'm a fan. I actually reached out to Tipper Mike, who used the socks, the CEP socks specifically on a recent trip, and he loved, I should say, the ExoSkin socks, and he thought that the CEP ones were actually more comfortable and better, which is saying a lot because those are pretty high-end stuff.
I do. Yeah. I should try the CEP ones. I do love ExoSkin stuff. I still wear it every day, like on a daily basis. So
So if CEP's next level up, man, it's time to level up, right?
Maybe we're all getting older.
Something to consider.
Gotta keep that blood flowing.
That's right. Correct. Okay. Next up is Soto. They make backpacking stoves and cook sets. I've got Tomo Sekiguchi here from Soto Stoves. How's it going today, sir?
It's really been great, Carl. Thank you so much for inviting me over.
Oh, hey, it's our pleasure for sure. So, okay, for those that are not familiar with Soto, can you tell us about the brand and kind of what your company's all about?
Sure. Soto was born in Japan right around 1940s, and we've been one of the leading manufacturers of the gas stove for the outdoor hiking market.
Okay, all right. So I missed that. Since the 1940s, you said?
Yes.
Okay, so you've been around for a little bit of time.
Exactly.
Man. All right. And so there's a few stoves on the market. We got some other brands. You've got some competitors. So what's different, better, whatever you want to say about Soto versus your competitors?
Yes. Approximately 15 years ago, one of our founder of the company was out there doing some hikings and outdoor activities, and he turned out to be became one of the inventor of so-called micro-regulator stove.
Okay.
And the micro-regulator stove is based on the fact that if you go out, and forgive me, but if you do like barbecue, you will find the barbecue grill with a large regulator. It's almost looking like a UFO looking like thing.
Right.
He actually looked at the function of the regulator and compacted into small size, just about the size of the tip of your pinky.
Okay.
And we made it into so-called micro-regulator system.
Okay.
So it's really, our stove is strong against the colder temperature environment as well as the windy condition.
Okay. And so one of your stoves is called the Wind Master, I think, right?
Yes,
So
that's one of our best-selling stove.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's good in the wind. I thought the colder issues was more with the fuel and keeping that fuel canister like warm enough to pump it out. Is that
Yes,
correct?
that is absolutely correct.
Okay.
Usually what we call outdoor camping canister stove fuel, they contains combination of propane, isobutane, and butane, or propane and isobutane. And that combination of the ingredients makes a huge difference. So generally speaking, outdoor products, stoves such as our product, are not really strong against colder temperature, but in the market, there are generally speaking two categories of stove, backpacking stove. One system is based on the needle valve system, the other one, what we call regulator system.
Right.
Needle valve system is very much depending upon the environment temperature that affects the pressure of the fuel canister. That affects the level of the flame coming out of the stove burner head. Regulator stove, what it does is that despite the temperature, colder temperature, so long as what we call boiling point,
Right.
where gases continue to evaporate, it can regulate and produce the flame just as on the normal temperature.
Okay.
It's really hard to really explain as a concept, but regulator does far better job than needle valve system, and we are the forerunner of that regulator manufacturer system.
Gotcha. Okay. So performs better sort of in adverse conditions. How is the fuel efficiency of Soto stoves kind of measure up?
Obviously, the colder the temperature, if you use needle valve system, the flame is not as strong as, therefore it takes maybe 5 to 10 times more to boil a liter of water, for example.
Okay.
So you use more fuel in order to boil a liter of water or half liter of water.
Okay.
Whereas regulator stove, so long as it's within the boiling point of the fuel, it produces just like a normal stove. So ambient temperature, probably approximately 75 degrees, performs just like that, normal temperature.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. And you sell not only stoves, but you sell kind of the whole cook systems where you have the pots and you've got the pot grabbers, and you use titanium. You got lightweight options. I think over at your booth you measured it out. You had a scaler, which was really cool, where you kind of measuring it out, kind of 4 and the 5 ounce range for the pot,
Yes.
and then for the stove itself. And I think that I measured the pot grabber at like an ounce 0.3 or something like that. So, all right. Over the years, like the pots with the pot grabbers, like those have been around for a long time, and I have not been very successful with pot grabbers. So I'm grabbing things with the pot, and at some point, the pot is gonna drop, it's gonna spill, it's gonna get all over the place. So I actually like have kind of, I wouldn't even say like a love-hate relationship. I think it's just a hate relationship with the pot grabber. All right, so I have to ask you, why the pot grabber? Why not just like build the little handles into the pots themselves?
Yeah, I understand your question. Many times we have inquiry from a user of the product is that when they're actually cooking something cold in the cold temperature, the food or liquid gets so cold fast. But if you have a pot grabber, for example, or a pot handle attached to the pot itself, you can't use a cozy, for example. And our stove, our pots doesn't have a pot grabber or
The
handle,
handles,
because they are designed to use and work with our cozy, easy.
Okay, that makes sense.
And also, I noticed that many of the people, some people really don't like the weight issue. So if you add the handle to the pot attached to it, then the weight basically becomes an issue. A lot of people just try to reduce 1 ounce, half ounce. It's just become an issue.
So for the weight conscious people,
exactly,
they're probably not going to get the pot grabber anyway. They're going to figure it out with like a a handkerchief or buff.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
That's exactly. Yeah.
All right, that makes sense.
All right, so I'm really interested in your products now that we've been talking to you. So do you have anything new coming out in the future that you would like to talk about?
Yes, currently we are focusing on the titanium materials because it is the materials I believe for the future, and it is good, environmental friendly product. Titanium is, for example, being used for the human bone as a replacement.
Right.
So we all know titanium is a very good product, user friendly in a sense, but it's not really good for the cooking. But the reason being is that transfer of the heat is not as good as, for example, aluminum, for example. However, the reason that we're focusing on the titanium is that a lot of people have started shying away with the aluminum because of the health issue, for example.
Yeah.
And also, we're also discovering that a lot of people use pot and pan for just the boiling hot water for freeze-dry food.
Right.
So it's not necessarily cooking. People actually do it in the outdoor field.
Right.
They're more cooking or boiling hot water to make freeze-dry food edible, for example. So from that standpoint, titanium pots are not designed to be cooked with, but rather to make water from the ice, for example, or boil water for drinking, as well as using it for the freeze-dry food.
Okay, so you're gravitating more towards titanium and away from the aluminum cooking stuff?
Yes, that is correct. But one difference is that we use a very ultra thin materials of 0.3 millimeter. And
This thin.
I see that there's not so many manufacturer with that kind of thin materials because it's hard to manufacture and it's very hard to form. So we were able to accomplish that, and that's why it's a ultra light, totally weightless, almost featherweight titanium pot we were able to manufacture.
Nice. And I saw some of your cook sets, they nest inside of each other, so it's not taking up a lot of space.
Yes, nesting is very important for us because we hear a lot of voices from the actual hikers and climbers, and they want everything to be nested. They don't want to waste space. So nesting is an important
So
concept.
your cook set nests in itself, and then your stove nests inside of the cook set
Yes,
too?
sir.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that.
Tomo, thank you so much for coming on our show. We really appreciate it, and wish you the best with Soto Stoves and cookware. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
All right. So he's talking about how his stove's going to work better in colder environments and kind of work better with that canister fuel. The Windmaster is going right now. I checked it for $65 at REI. Would you switch from the jet boil to a, I don't know, it's probably like half the weight setup system and try his Windmaster?
Ooh, that's interesting. I mean, look, I know we've had good experiences with the jet boil. We were just on a trip where people did not like the jet boil.
Right.
I'm always a fan of trying something new. I think it would be worth a go. I think it would be worth trying it. I think I don't know if I'd do it on a trip that's going to be like a long trip. Maybe try it on like a shorter trip, something like that, where you don't have to like depend on it. But I'd be open for it.
You don't trust is what you're saying. You don't want to depend on the stuff because you think
it's got to prove itself. You got to prove itself. I mean, unless you're gonna go, what are you gonna go? Maybe you like to use it in your backyard when you cook hot dogs or whatever. I don't know.
Sure, I'll cook hot dogs. Yeah,
I
think that these stoves, these stoves, MSR stoves, I feel like these are like indestructible stoves. I think the jet boil is more likely to break than this one, 100%. Yeah.
Probably.
So okay, he also mentioned that he didn't want to add handles to the like thin titanium cook pots because people like to use one of those like cozies to keep their food warm, and the handles might get in the way. Do you think pot handles could get in the way from you using a cozy?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he has his experiences where something happened, but I don't know. The pot handle. We've had this conversation like 1,000 times, right? About this.
Zero.
What are you talking about? The pot handle?
If a pot handle can get in the way of a cozy, you've never asked me that question ever.
I'm talking about pot handles getting in the way, period, and not being good.
Okay.
But
no,
I don't know.
We've talked about pot handles over pot. Okay.
What did you see? You saw it. I mean,
excellent analysis. I don't know. No,
I don't think. I would say no. I don't know. I've never I've never had them in front of me.
I think they'd slide
How
right
many
over.
times do I use a cozy? How many times do I use a freaking cozy?
I don't know, but you've been on trips with people that use them, so maybe
you're the one that owns a. You're the one that owns a Snuggie, not me. I don't know about cozy. Just give me a blanket and throw me in bed. You know what I mean? Like I don't have a Snuggie. You know way more about cozy than me.
Okay. Well, sorry. I asked the wrong question. I asked you a backpacking question, thinking that you hosted a backpacking podcast.
Gosh.
My Apologies.
It's your bad.
Okay, this next one, I think I had you try on a recent trip. This is a company called Ovation, and they make beef jerky mixed with not quite dehydrated eggs, but we'll just say like steak and eggs. Steak and eggs out on the trail. Here we go. All right, I'm here with Tom Corrigan from Ovation Foods. And Tom, you make food with freeze-dried eggs. Is that correct?
They're actually not freeze-dried. They're made on a fluidized bed. And so what we do is we take the eggs, we separate them between the yolk and the egg, and then we put them through this fluidized bed, and they bring them back together. And what that does is it maintains the nutrient profile of the egg. When you cook an egg at high heat, for example, spray dried or freeze dried at 500 degrees, it tends to denature the egg, and so you have less of the nutrients left over once you get done doing that. So we have a proprietary technology, is how we actually produce those egg beads. And so we're actually an egg company, and the beef jerky and chicken jerky is the first product that we're actually putting the egg in. So we're all about nutrient density, about getting all those great vitamins and nutrients in the egg into products.
So, and what he was showing us, he's got a steak and eggs package. It looks like a beef jerky package, kind of that same size.
Yes, it is. This is 1.6 ounces of steak and eggs. It's a black pepper flavor. And it's got 190 milligrams of choline, and choline is vital for brain function. And 93% of people in the U.S. are deficient in choline. The best place to get choline is in eggs. The other places you can get them are in organ meat like liver, and so not a lot of people want to go, eat a lot of liver.
And livers, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And it's also zero sugar in it, which is
zero sugar and 25 grams of protein in that package there.
Yes.
And yeah, so it just looks like beef jerky, but he's like I don't know how you talk. Like, you've combined the eggs with the beef jerky to make a product?
Exactly. It's our first outing utilizing the egg beads. And we felt that beef jerky was a category that was a good place to go, because there's not a lot of healthy choices out there, and so this has got no nitrates, no added materials. There's about 8 or 9 actual ingredients in it, and so it's all natural. And so what we wanted to do was bring that all natural, contents to the snack market, so you can feel good about giving your kids a snack that has great nutrient value for you.
So you're saying that choline, it helps brain function. I noticed that after I stopped by your booth and I had your sample, I did amazing interviews afterwards, so I can attest that it worked
excellent.
well.
Right now, Mike.
It's doing its work right off the bat.
It worked really well. No, what I did notice with your product, though, with the samples is a lot, like I was saying at the booth, a lot of people are going into making their own foods out on the trail. I'm telling you what, this product will be perfect with 0 grams of sugar and everything to be making your own pastas and mixing your own vegetables in there. So I think you guys got a first-class winner right there, for sure.
Great, I appreciate it. Yeah, it'd be really easy to kind of just chop it up, and put it into your pasta or into your mac and cheese or whatever it is that you're eating on the trail, and to get that nutrient density on the trail, to get that fuel that you need to hike.
Yep, absolutely. And then you can have great conversations afterwards because your brain function will be much higher.
That's exactly right, and we all need that.
And we all know how you struggle with that, Mike. All right, so somebody tries your product. What's the most common reaction you get when somebody sampled your product? What do they say?
So they say that steak and eggs taste awesome. We have a chicken and egg product that's a little drier because it's boneless, skinless chicken breast, and it's more kind of for the hardcore person who's looking for really high nutrients.
Right.
Whereas the steak and eggs, one of the things they've really kind of blows their mind is knowing that there's a whole egg in there.
Right.
And it just doesn't seem to, they've not come across that before, and it is novel. And, that's probably the biggest thing. And then explaining, kind of all the great things that are in an egg that a lot of people don't know.
Okay. So they don't say it's excellent. Excellent. All right, on that note, Tom, thanks for coming on our show. And you can find this product. It was on Amazon and on the Ovation Foods website. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes. And in retailers near you soon.
All right. Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so on a recent trip, we tried this out. I really like it. I like the beef jerky. I like the steak and eggs. What'd you think?
Yeah, it was good. I think you let me have some. It was good.
Right.
Tasted great. And I didn't have any complaints about it.
And it's 0 sugar, significantly more healthy with the added egg to the packaging. It's about the price of beef jerky. Is this something that you would buy for a future trip?
Yes.
Okay.
It was. Yeah.
That's
I didn't see how many flavors Did you see the hand? Did you?
They had originally had the pepper. They had some sort of jalapeno one, and I'd have to look up the rest.
Yeah, I would try it.
Hey, Derek's super
I was
picky,
a big
so
fan
for
of the
him
whole
to say
egg
he
thing.
would buy it on a future trip, like this is a big deal, folks.
I want good stuff. I want something that's like healthy. I
It
like
is
the whole
healthy.
egg edition. Yeah,
I like the zero sugar. And if you go to the store, they have like beef jerky, which is zero sugar. And it's, if you look at like a regular, let's say that the package just costs $6. You go zero sugar, you're talking $12. Same size and everything. So this being like more on the $6 side, I am interested.
I was proud of you. You normally are like a pig in a trough with all your candy and everything. So I was proud of you that you brought something that was healthy, right?
A pig
pleased
in
me.
a trough with candy.
Please me.
I know you're trying to make fun of me, but I would do that, man. That sounds like a really good deal.
I know you would. I know you would. I know you would.
That is ridiculous.
Look what I got here, Derek. I got my Swedish fish and my,
We're loosely
all kinds of
referencing a trip we made up to Canada last week, and we're going to get to that episode here soon, but so we don't want to reveal too much. But I did not bring a trough, nor enough candy to fill a trough, just to clarify.
Close. Probably half a trough.
All right. Next up, we've got this one. Okay. So for the Patreon supporters out there, first of all, thank you for supporting us on Patreon. I did release this interview on Patreon, not thinking that I was going to like the product because we tried a similar product that didn't work for us, but this is Lemongrass Farms, and they make an all natural, like mosquito repellent. They make actually a variety of bug sprays. And I brought a full can on a trip that was very mosquito-y here in Colorado earlier last month. And we'll hear what it's all about, and then I'll tell you what happened. Jackson here from Lemongrass Farms. How's it going today?
Awesome first day. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for asking me to come on.
Yeah. So you're a farm that sells something?
Our name is Lemongrass Farms. We are a all-natural bug spray. We wanted to make the purest bug spray we could, and we did that, I think, and I feel. And the feedback from everybody you hear is like, the biggest problem outdoors is bugs. And the biggest thing that people don't want to use is bug spray because it's full of chemicals, it's gross, it's nasty, it's sticky. And you want to take a shower as soon as you put it on anyways. And so what we've done is we have developed a blend of essential oils that are pure. The first bug spray that's non-GMO. We also, we're cruelty-free. We hit a lot of boxes, but the main thing is you're getting 100% natural product. The moisturizers we use are actually bio-based, and they're actually a cosmetic grade. So it's almost the same thing as like a woman's primer that you put on before makeup. That's just kind of like your moisture layer. And so when you spray it, because it's water-based, the water evaporates, and then you're just left with moisturized essential oils on your skin. We use lemongrass oil, cedarwood oil, mint, and geranium. And with that, all of those are active ingredients, active essential oils. So you're not having to put anything else in there to get something that's going to be effective against keeping the bugs away. And that's the big thing. We want to keep them away. We don't want to kill your skin. We don't want to kill the environment. We don't want to harm and use harmful chemicals. So along with that, we use BOV, which is a kind of a new technology with cans, and it's a continuous spray, but it's 100% product in a bag that's pressurized clean air on the outside. So you're going to get 100% product. We sell it in 8 ounces, where a lot of all naturals, they sell 4 ounces and it's like $10. Well, we're selling 8 ounces for the same price, so we're really competitive. Exactly. So competitive on the market to me, even with the stuff that has aerosols and stuff, because you're still getting 30% of active ingredient along with harmful propellants.
So you're saying not only will we keep the bugs away, but it'll moisturize our skin and might even take some of Mike's wrinkles away. Is that correct?
Look, I make no claims, but call me and let me know how that goes.
Okay. All right. And go ahead, Mike. And then there's so like mainly when we talk about bugs, we talk about mosquitoes. Mm-hmm. But your spray works against like flies and horseflies. Is that correct?
Yeah. So in one of our other products we have with the kids, the Trek. The Scram is actually for area spray. So it's actually developed because of one of our people that's in our company's daughter is an equestrian, and she does horse racing or competitive, and just dying with the flies out. And so she had a can of our Trek and sprayed it around her, and they were like, look, y'all need to promote this for this because it works. So then we just developed area spray, essentially doing the same thing that Trek was doing, but now you're getting and I use it on my kayak. It's great for dining and stuff like that, but when you put that on your kayak or what's around you, especially if you're sports, golf is a big thing too. I mean, you're outdoors. It's not greasy that's going to mess up your grip. And I'm a golfer. Okay. I love it, so I've used it, and it stays. I mean, you put it on over and over, and it's just going to keep absorbing into your skin.
All right, so if you're looking for a better solution, an all-natural solution for bug spray, so check it out, Lemongrass Farms. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Perfect. Derek, are you an essential oils user?
Actually, I have used essential oils, yes.
Okay.
Now, more so in a diffuser way throughout the room. Not I have a headache, I'm going to put the peppermint here, and I have a stomach ache, I'll put it here. I don't do all that.
Well, people go pretty far. They're like, it looks like you had a broken leg. Just rub some orange on it, and you're good.
You have diabetes and cancer. Rub peppermint between your eyeballs, and you're good.
We have a friend that that seriously would suggest essential oils to us when solving impossible problems. Like your basement just flooded there. Let's just pour some oil on the soaked carpet, and it will prevent it from getting mold.
Sprinkle lemongrass everywhere, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. So I'm always skeptical with essential oils. All that to say, I brought the can, and it's weird because I don't use bug spray, but so everybody's grabbing it out of my pack. And my wife is like, we will never use anything else because she loved this product. She's like, this works. It smells good. And it's actually good for my skin. It's like that, greasy, chemically DEET or stuffing off or whatever they,
So they're just spraying it all over them. They're just doing this all over the place.
Just spraying all over the place. And it smells nice. And so you're like, okay, this is actually a pleasant thing to bring. It's not, I got to look at their products. It didn't come in a lightweight backpackable can or plastic bottle. So you're adding some weight, but you know what? They're a newer company, so maybe they'll adapt and kind of change up their packaging. So would you buy this? Would you bring this on a mosquito-y trip?
I mean, personally, no. If I'm going with somebody that is mosquito,
Dude, you and I are the anomalies. Everybody else hate.
I didn't.
You and I are not.
I can't. I don't think we're the best reviewers of this. I do. Okay, I'll say this. I do know people that are more susceptible. So yeah, I would try this. I'm thinking about even buying some just to have it around, just in case. Okay. But I don't know.
Emergency bug spray.
let me ask you this because we didn't ask this on a few other recordings we did, but we're gonna talk about a trip that we did to Canada later. But did you get bit on that trip?
I had 2 mosquito bites by the end.
Really? I don't know if I had any. Maybe one.
Yeah. I had a couple.
Did everybody else get bit?
I don't know. We didn't do a rundown, man. We didn't have time. It was a fast and furious trip. So yeah, we'll get to that later. We'll swing back and ask. We'll ask around. Okay. All right. Last one. Okay. Thanks to Rachel from Lemongrass Farms. Last one I've got is I asked. So while I was doing all this, poking around different booths and trying to find different folks to talk to, I had B&B correspondent Jen Crafton. She went around and talked to completely different companies and got the lowdown. So that way we get a very different perspective. And I had her report out on her top 3 companies. It ends up being 6 or 7, but she does a great job. So here's what she had to say. Okay, I'm here with backpacking and blisters correspondent Jen Crafton.
Hey, Carl.
Hi, is it Tupperware Jen? Because you're
married
to Tupperware Mike.
No, it's actually Jen Deanna. Jen from Indiana.
Oh, okay.
Jen Deanna.
I like that better. Jen Deanna. All right. So we're here with Jen Deanna, and so Jen's been at the Outdoor Retailer Show, and she's been hitting all sorts of different companies that I haven't had the chance to check out. So I told her to come up with her top 3 list companies that she's excited to try their products.
Yes.
Get your list.
I have really enjoyed the Outdoor Retailer Show this year, Carl. I feel like I found quite a few things that I'm really excited to try out this summer, specifically on some of our backpacking trips that we have lined up. Number 3, I am oddly excited about innovation that is happening in the sunscreen industry in general. I know that sunscreen is important. I wish that I had taken better care of my skin when I was younger. I spent a lot of time in the outdoors. But Carl, it is really hard to put on multiple coats of sunscreen when you are out in the field, you're sweaty, you maybe have like bug spray on you.
Right.
And I start off really strong with the first coat and then it fizzles for me. And so part of that has to do with the smell. I really do not enjoy chemical sunscreens and the way that they smell. I feel very particular about the smell of sunscreens. And two companies in particular that I'm really excited to test out, I have samples for both of them, are Uta and Ursa Major. And they are both an all-natural, mineral-based sunscreen, and they have a very, very low smell to them. So this is not your sunscreen that you are at the beach in, like your banana, but well, am I allowed to say a brand?
You can say whatever you want.
Okay.
We just let loose here.
Okay, cut that part out. They are not your average supermarket sunscreen like you would pick up. They are very much engineered and geared for active people in the outdoors that don't want to attract bears by their like a coconut smelling beachy scent. So I'm really excited about the finish on these. A lot of the mineral sunscreens, I am very fair skinned, and they often leave a very like white cast on my skin. And somehow these two companies have really worked on their engineering of this product. So I'm excited to put them to the test.
All right. Some good. Okay, a lot to unpack there.
Sure.
First of all, like you mentioned the whole bear thing, and like, have you heard of bears actually like the bear got me because of my fragrant sunscreen? They talk about that all the time, but have you heard that story anywhere?
I don't know. I mean, I've been into backpacking for a number of years, and it's always just drilled in, like, you don't want to have a lot of scents, you don't want to have a lot of smells. I'm always putting my things in a bear vault, or we're hanging a bear sack. I won't even sleep with a chapstick in my tent or in my hammock, like, little pouch. And so I'm really cognizant of, like, the scents and the fragrances. I don't want to attract anything. I would just err on giving it the safe side, you know?
I don't know, in terms of like what you're talking about, the other problem is I'm the same way. So I'll put sunscreen on at the beginning of the day. I start sweating, and like now I've got like a layer of sweat screen, so to speak. I don't want to put like another, like I feel like I'd have to take almost like a wipe bath or something.
Yeah, you do.
And then do that, but I'm not going to do that like in the middle of the day, like on a backpacking trip. So I'm not as good about the second or third layer. So these companies can't solve that problem, can they?
I think the way that it feels on your skin might make it a little bit more enjoyable to continue to layer it up. For me, the really chemical heavy sunscreens, they just don't layer well for me. We will see if these layer better. I'm with you. Like once you have that layer of trail dirt, it just becomes kind of impossible. It's just not going to stick, and then it's not going to do its job. And sometimes it's just simply too hot to wear that many like sun protective like clothing layers. And
I'm with you.
so you know, even if it improves it a little bit, I think I will be happy.
Fair enough. All right, number 3 was 2 sunscreen companies. Number 2, what you got?
Number 2, I am really excited about what Schwood and Optic Nerve are doing in the sunglass eyewear industry. They're making some really innovative, very thoughtfully designed products. Optic Nerve has these nose bridge pieces. They have several different models, but some of them they kind of pinch close, and some of them sort of pivot and adjust. And I don't know about you, but when I'm out sweating, sometimes I'm just like constantly pushing up my sunglasses. They just slide down. Another gripe I have with the traditional sunglasses is after an entire day of wearing them day in and day out, they really start to hurt behind my ears, especially if I'm wearing a baseball hat, and I often am. And so I'm really excited to try these two sunglass companies out, because I feel like they have really thoughtfully designed the behind the ear pad.
Is there like a pad on that thing?
The ones that they're going to send me have like some cushion to them. They're like a rubberized, like thoughtfully designed for. It's not just me. that have the behind the ear
I
pain.
think people that wear them all day long have that issue. So almost like a little mini pillow behind the ear for sunglasses.
And I really cannot go without sunglasses. Like if I'm outside, it is a must for me. And so it just becomes a sufferfest at the end of a week. But it's necessary.
Without the sunglasses, it's a sufferfest.
Yeah.
Not the muscle pain or the fatigue. Like it's the sunglasses that get you.
You know, I think it's just those little annoyances like that kind of stack up that kind of turn it into a type 2 fun situation, you know. But
sunscreen in the eyes, that kind of stuff.
Stings. That's no fun.
All right, number one, what you got?
I am really excited to try Paca's alpaca blended performance base layers. I am familiar with merino wool. I've had some smart wool pieces. I've had a couple icebreaker pieces. Alpaca fibers are longer, they're softer, and Paca is making some really interesting pieces for summer hiking. Like it wouldn't be at the top of your mind to hike in a alpaca t-shirt, but they are. And the reason I'm excited about it is because they claim, Carl, that it really cuts down on the stink factor. And so I'm a natural fibers kind of a girl, but when you're in the backcountry, you really are, you're better served a lot of times in technical nylon, polyester, these like synthetic fabrics. But for me, they stink, and they stink quick. And so I feel like I'm really excited to see what alpaca can do for the stink.
Are you, like, in general, pro deodorant on the trip or anti?
An unscented deodorant, yes. I'm kind of like a Dr. Bronner's and maybe a little bit of like unscented deodorant. I don't bring like a lot of cosmetics or anything with me into the backcountry. But yes, I am someone who needs a little bit of deodorant.
Okay. All right. There you go. Top 3 from Jen Deanna. Thank you for joining us at the show, and thanks for being a correspondent for Backpacking Blisters. We appreciate it.
It has been a pleasure. Thanks, Carl.
Okay, so Derek, really so Jen did a great job right there. I don't really have anything more to say. I just talked to her during that interview, so I think I reacted. But she did bring up the deodorant conversation. I was kind of digging around your backpack trying to get some sunblock out for you at one point on the recent trip. I noticed, did you have like a full stick of deodorant?
I normally don't bring it at all, but for some reason this trip I said, you know what? I'm going to bring it. And I'm glad I did, because I put it on randomly one day, and sure enough, multiple people came up to me and said, you know what? You smell really good. And I said, well, thank you. I appreciate that. It made my day. So I was like, you know what?
It made your day. Oh my goodness. Okay.
I said, hey, come everybody come in, take a peek. Yeah. Let's go. Take a whiff, Just hold the arms up. Let's go.
Would you ever consider buying like a travel size deodorant rather than like the full on like king size version?
Yeah. There was smaller versions of what I had. That's all I had. So normally I don't bring it at all, but But when you're packed 23 pounds, you can get away with it.
A while back, our good friend Camel Cud, good friend of the show, he gave me a deodorant wipe, a single wipe, and I held on to it until the trip. And so I used it just for one, like in the middle of the trip. And I think it worked. It's not meant to work for the whole trip, but I just thought it was kind of interesting one. I don't remember the company was, but kind of interesting. So anyway, all right. So a lot to unpack there. Hopefully you found some new information from at least one of the companies. And so thanks to all the companies that were able to do that. This is our last Outdoor Retailer Show episode till the next one, which is going to be next summer. So we've got some more companies coming up that we're going to talk to, but that's it for a little while. But I've got trail food trivia for you, Derek, coming up right after this. Do you have a sweat problem? When your clothes get wet, your core temperature can dramatically fluctuate, and this can cause hypothermia, heat exhaustion, dehydration, and embarrassment. Vaucluse's ultralight ventilation backpack frame solves this problem. Install it on your favorite pack to create a ventilating airflow gap. Check out this ultralight game changer at vauclusegear.com and use code blisters for $5 off. All right, my friend. All right. Are you ready for trivia?
Giddy up. Let's go.
Giddy up. Okay. All right. So I've got trail food trivia. So we already talked about Honey Stinger on the episode today, of course. So can you name another company that makes similar items such as the waffle, such as the gel, and chews. All 3 items made by a different company. Here are your options. You have oh geez. So you have A, goo, B, Cliff, C, Power Bar, or D, Jelly Belly.
I'm gonna say goo because I had 2 of those 3 with goo. I don't know if they make the waffle though.
Okay, so goo it is. That is correct, my friend. Well done. Yes. Okay. Okay. Number 2, Jelly Belly also makes something that is energy based, both with electrolytes and caffeine. Can you name that item?
Ooh. Electrolytes and caffeine. I don't even eat Jelly Bellies. Is it a jelly bean? Coffee jelly bean?
So it's a type of bean, but they call it like a certain type of bean. It's obviously not jelly bean. It's not. Is it
the Snickers bean?
The Snickers bean.
Is that it?
It is the sport bean, specifically the extreme sport beans. I'm sorry. That is incorrect.
I don't eat Jelly Bellies. I don't know. That's funny.
Okay. Yeah, and I thought you might have like seen them on the shelf when shopping. I don't know. I almost bought some. They're like, they're kind of similarly priced as like the chews and stuff. And anyway, so I grabbed a package and I was like, there's like five beans in here for $2.50. It's like, this is a rip-off.
Seriously?
I know. Yeah. So we'll circle back later and talk about that. Okay.
So you're like, let's try them out.
So let's try them out. That's right. That's funny.
Possible sponsor. Here we go. Okay.
Okay. So we already referenced, this is number 3. We already referenced that on a recent trip, we went to Canada, and Canada has a lot of the same things. They got some different things like discussing ketchup chips. And they also have something that kind of based on Cheetos, which are slightly more healthy than Cheetos. All right. Can you name the Canadian version of Cheetos that people brought on our backpacking trip?
I can, because I bought a bag myself.
Did you?
They are called. I did. Yeah. At the gas station. Cheesies. They're called Cheesies.
Cheesies is correct.
Yeah, and they use apparently legit cheese. Apparently. I don't know.
Do they? Legit powder cheese?
That's what it said.
Okay. All right.
Legit processed powder cheese.
I just wonder if they have it at World Market, because I think, how World Market sells stuff from different countries. I would buy those. They were so good.
Did you like? They were pretty good, actually.
I love them. So I'm going to check
Was that the highlight of your, that might have been the highlight of your trip right there.
Maybe.
Cheesies.
Maybe just the food. I mean, especially good when you're running out of food. But anyway. All right. So first tidbit is, so we got an email from Shawnee O. And he took an issue with something that we talked about in our last podcast. This is when we had a guest host who kind of went off about the concept of rucking, that type of event. Are you familiar with this, Derek?
Rucking? No.
Yeah.
What is rucking?
Okay. Rucking is kind of like a military-based activity where you basically load up a really heavy backpack and you carry it around for a variety of distances. They have events where you can go even like 50 miles, maybe more than that. And it's just like a challenge, essentially, to kind of walk around with this very heavy pack. James Appleton was a recent guest host last week, and he said, I don't think he was necessarily against rucking. He didn't say that at all, at least when I went back and listened. He was against the name of it. He's like, why do we have to name this? What's the big deal? Why do we have to name this? Why does this have to be a thing? I think is basically what he's saying. And Sean said he was deeply offended by the rucking comments because he outlined just a ton of things that were good about rucking and the rucking community and what they represent. So I just wanted to highlight these things because Sean took the time to write a very well-crafted email. He said that for starters, it helps with backpacking stamina. It gets people off the couch. It gets them doing something. It provides them with a challenge. Beyond that, they hold fundraising events for veterans and veterans' families in a variety of areas. So they are heavy in supporting our military veterans, which we as a podcast definitely support. And we thank all of you that are veterans for your service.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Agreed? Yeah. So my response on the show was like, I didn't necessarily like naysay what James was saying. I didn't necessarily directly agree with what he's saying, but by not disagreeing, maybe you could take that as an agreement. I just was kind of going along with it because I honestly, before Sean's email, did not know a whole lot about rucking, but it sounds like they do a lot of good for a lot of people. And we definitely would not want to put down any event or organization that does that. So on behalf of our podcast, I apologize to anybody who's offended by the rucking comments from the last episode.
I mean, leave it to you to press buttons you don't need to press, I mean, obviously this is an area where we are not familiar. So I think it's good that I mean, maybe it's good that you. I don't know. This sounds weird to say, but maybe it's good that you kind of pushed the button and offended him, because then it really opened up the door to teach us, especially you, about what this does and how beneficial.
You didn't know what it was.
Yeah, but like but listen, because of your ignorant comments and offensive remarks to James and Sean. Sorry guys for Carl. Sorry guys. This is what I deal with regularly. This is what I deal with regularly. His inappropriate comments on my life. Anyway, but because you did that, now it's like I'm actually learning about this whole rucking thing and how cool that is, because you're getting people outside, you're getting people active, you're doing it for a good cause, and you're raising money. Like, initially I might hear that and be like, rucking, what? But like, it makes sense. That's cool. I think that's really cool.
Okay. Yeah.
So
now it's Sean's turn to
and you know what?
Our show anymore, because anybody that gives us feedback that's negative tends to not listen to our show. Remember Linda, how she called us out for interrupting Stephen from My Life Outdoors?
Linda.
And you're like, give us a shout out so we know you're still listening. Yeah, she hasn't done that. Just FYI.
You know what? Shame on you, Carl. Just you're just offending everybody.
Okay.
Shame.
I put a black mark on our podcast episode. I actually have a lot more to say about this, but we're right at the end.
I'm sure you do.
Episode. We're right at the end, so we'll probably circle back, and Derek and I will talk about this again, because. But Sean, we appreciate the professionalism of your email.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Sean. A couple other tidbits. We have a new Patreon supporter, Dana from Alberta, where we just were recently backpacking. She went on a backpacking trip recently. I think it was her first trip, and she went into the deep snow and barely survived.
What the heck? Death march right away. Let's go, Dana.
I don't know if it was a death march. It was just a death-defying trip. So, Dana, thank you so much for supporting us. We've got crazy number of bonus episodes. We have ad-free episodes. We got Patreon trips. We feel like it's worth it, but thank you so much. We don't get a lot of Patreon supporters, so we really, really value you and impressed with your trip. She sent us some pictures, and I'll pass this along, Derek. Finally, we got a new review, man. We got a new review.
Let's hear it. Let's do it. Let's hear it.
I can look it up, but it's about you.
Oh, this is probably fake then, right? This is a prank? Do I need to get on my app and check?
I've got for those that are watching on YouTube, I've got my phone out right now, and I'm bringing up you can read it if you want to. It's from the Burns mom.
The Burns mom.
Yeah, but the Burns mom, she gives 5 stars. Thank you. She said fun talk, so it's positive. This is about the mistakes that people make. It's a good general information, easy to listen to, but just a suggestion on the 8 Mistakes podcast and first aid kits. Remember that one. No need for hydrogen peroxide. Soap and water is best for cleaning wounds, as I said, literally in the show. And you're like, how about some hydroperoxo? How about some hydroperoxo?
I just love hydroperoxo. And it comes in those little 1 ounce bottles, I mean, listen, what was her name?
The Burns mom.
The Burns mom. Burns mom. Listen, I don't know if your name's Linda, Karen, whatever. Doesn't matter. Burns mom. We have...
Okay, don't be offended by what Derek's about to say. Don't be offended. Go ahead.
Wow. I don't even know how to. You're like a child. Do you still believe in Santa Claus?
We already offended somebody this episode. We gotta stay clean.
You are on a roll. Okay, listen, Burns mom. All due respect, soap and water is great. However, we have people on our trip that use soap to clean water filters. So it's kind of scary for me to bring soap on the trip, knowing that they might, and it's just, I'm trying to think ahead. So, but I hear you. I hear you. Soap is good as well.
Yeah. Good.
I just like hydrogen peroxide.
Soap and water, sufficient, as we talked about.
See, Carl, that's called respect.
I think gets rid of some of the good bacteria along with the bad. That's the issue.
You know what, though? But it's called, when you take note, I hope you're writing this down, it's called respecting her opinion as well. And then sharing mine. And I'm open to both. You know what I mean? So
you're very open-minded.
I'm not just going to hate. I'm not just going to hate on it. I'm just going to hate on it. I'm hoping to offend you as much as possible. Yes. That is
success. True. Success.
Burns mom, no, I apprate it, but we have
going. Keep talking.
We got some we got some characters in our group, Burns mom. There's one right over here.
She doesn't even care. She's not talking about that at all. It's unrelated. Oh my goodness.
Oh, soap clogs filters. That's all I'm gonna say.
For me, that's all I got. You can keep listening to Derek talk about soap and filters. Keep going, Derek.
That's all I got, too, guys. We'll see you next time on the B&B. Check out backpackingblisterspodcast.com on all the social media handles. Remember, Carl is not only the horsefly bite on your leg, he's the horsefly bite on my life. We will see you next time. Put soap in the pack.
Get your hand off the microphone, please.
Put soap in the pack. put soap in the pack and get rid of the hydroperoxide. Adios.